Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
Why did you take me?
Because I hears your lonely heart in all the secret whisperings of the podcast.
Oh, so whimsical.
Oh my god, what magic! What whimsy!
Here we are.
Hello, Fennel, and welcome to Blank Check with Griffin and David. I am
Welcome
Griffin.
to the Cave of Dreams.
I'm Griffin.
I'm David. Sims.
We are hashtag the two friends, Griffin Newman. And this is a podcast about filmographies, directors who had massive success early on in their career, given a series of blank checks that they can use to make crazy passion projects. Sometimes those checks clear, sometimes they bounce. And this is a mini-series on the films of Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
Parentheses, the DreamWorks years.
This is not DreamWorks, right?
This is technically the first post-DreamWorks movie.
It's Disney, right?
This is Disney and Amblin and Reliance.
Okay.
I'll back up in a second and explain the transition here. But this is the final film in our miniseries, Pod Me If You Cast. It is, to date, at the time of this recording, the most recent film Steven Spielberg has directed and released. And it is called the BFG.
Yeah. It's a movie.
BFG.
Roald Dahl book. A classic Roald Dahl novel.
BFG. I like the way she says BFG.
You clearly do. You came in here hot with your BFG impression.
When we had to test the levels, my mic check was just me saying BFG at different levels.
Don't you guys wish you could hear that?
BFG.
This might also be the most expensive film Steven Spielberg has ever made.
$175 million?
Something like that.
Yeah. It's also one of his least successful films.
It is. It's also one of his worst films, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. So we've talked about this ever since we had the idea for this podcast, where it's like, it's too bad Spielberg kind of just ends with like, eh. Like, I assume he's got more interesting stuff up his sleeve. Like,
well, and we've been talking about this idea of doing this latter period Spielberg for a while. Even before BFG came out, this was an idea that we were kicking around. And I remember hoping that BFG was going to be an interesting note to end on. I was hoping that it might be, taking all that he's learned in this latter phase of his career, where he's become more obsessed with the moral gray areas, where he stopped dealing in absolutes and brought those qualities back to the magic and wonder of early Spielberg. And he did not.
You're right. This is down to the Melissa Mathison screenplay.
Yeah.
It feels like a movie he would have tried to make in the 80s.
This feels...
And I believe Melissa Mathison is no longer even with us, right? Just to really drive that point home.
Yep. Yep. And I think that's one of...
I mean, she died pretty recently, a couple years ago. But
2015.
Still. Right. But
I think that's one of two reasons, maybe even earlier.
No, I think that you're right.
I think that is one of two reasons this film got made. We'll get to that in a second.
One, because he wanted to honor her memory with the script that her final script that she'd written. She's the writer of E.T., we should note.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay. Okay, what are we on right now?
We have to introduce someone else.
Okay.
Who's at the table with us today.
Yeah.
Because we have intern Will. I said intern Wow.
Can you just do whatever you're doing?
Intern Will is kindly monitoring the ones and zeros. So sitting with us at the table today. It's been a while.
It's been a while. He's been at the table a few times.
Yeah, but we haven't called it out, so I'm trying to make it. I was going to lie and pretend he has been at the table recently. Because remember we used to make a big deal out of it?
Yeah. I mean, do people long for those days when we would sort of specifically define where Ben was?
I don't know. Is nostalgia big these days?
That's true. Well,
nostalgia?
Not if you see the BFG's box office returns, let me tell you.
Yeah. He's a producer of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Producer Ben, the Ben Deucer, the Poet Laureate, the Haas, Mr. Haas, Mr. Positive.
It's got some names.
Hello Fennel, the Peeper, the Tiebreaker, Birthday Benny, Dirtbike Benny, Soaking Wet Benny, the Meat Lover, the Fart Detective. If you see him in the sheets, call him the Fuckmaster.
Sure.
If you see him in the streets, do not call him Professor Crispy.
Don't you dare.
Do not.
Cheer up, Ben.
Dare.
Oh, I'm cheery.
I don't know. You came in, I was like, how you doing? He's like, I'm great. Like, with the affectation of, fuck you.
He's, of course, a close personal friend of Dan Lewis.
I am, absolutely. We go way back.
Do you know Dan Brown?
I don't.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I did just rewatch, what's that thing where they're like finding the...
Da Vinci Code?
Yeah.
There's a
You
couple of them.
rewatched
Yeah,
the
why
Da
did you
Vinci
rewatch the Da Vinci Code? Not a memorable film.
No, I don't know why. I think it was just I needed something to check out with, and that was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has, of course, graduate to certain tells over the course of different miniseries, such as Ben and Shyamalan, Ben's Hate, Say Bennything, Ailey Benz with a $, Brewster Ben Kenobi, and Kylo Ben. I did them out of order.
You did them out of order, that's fine. But the real question is,
Yep.
this is the final Spielberg episode.
What are we going to do?
You had one idea. I can't remember what it was now.
The Ben Friendly Giant.
Was that it?
Catch Me If You Ben.
Yeah, but we already... Yeah.
Ben Deanna Ben.
No. It wasn't that.
Warhaz.
Wait.
That's it.
Someone suggested that. I'll look up the Reddit.
I was
going to
say
credit.
Crystal Haas, but that's not as good as Warhaz.
Warhaz is not bad. Warhaz is not bad
At the end of the
all.
episode, we'll go to the Reddit where people have been spitballing names, and we'll pick one and give
I can
that
find
person credit. But let's say for the end of the episode, so there's some pomp and circumstance, because I don't think it's going to take long to get through this movie.
But I'm glad to be here with you guys in the room.
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
not going to lie. I'm sort of happy to be done with this miniseries.
Yeah.
This
think we
late
all are.
period Spielberg was a little rough.
You're an idiot. Bridge of Spies is a masterpiece.
I like Bridge of Spies, but I'm saying overall, out of all the films,
well,
I mean,
you're
like,
just mad about Warhorse.
I'm mad about a
That's
lot
what
of
you're mad.
things.
No,
You
you're
hated
mad about
Warhorse.
Warhorse.
I am mad about Warhorse
Yeah, you're
because there was
real
no
mad.
horse diving.
True.
I think if we go over, if you were to look at the list again, you would realize that you like 90% of the movies at least.
Except for
You're-
Warhorse.
You're
He
especially
didn't
angry
like some
about
of them,
Warhorse.
though. He didn't like some of the ones that we like. It doesn't matter. We're not
Okay.
we're not here to litigate Ben's taste.
That's true.
That is for the Ben's Choice.
Well, he's our
episode.
finest film critic, of course. We know that.
Steven
I'm
Spielberg.
realizing that, I don't know, do you guys think that I am? Just want to be clear.
yes, of
Okay,
course,
cool,
what do you
cool.
mean?
I wasn't sure.
You thought it was like a sarcastic title?
Yeah, facetious.
No.
Oh, you're facetious. That sounds like some sort of underwater creature. A facetious. Okay. Esther Zuckerman texted me last night saying Ben is the funniest part of your podcast, which it's not like that's news.
No,
like,
everyone
it's not
knows
like
that.
people haven't said that to me before, but it
Yeah.
is funny anytime someone sort of comes to that realization. Anyway, Esther, shout out to you. You texted me 5 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are like the other cops in Beverly Hills cop. Do you know what I'm saying?
Who's Reinhold?
I think I'm Reinhold and you're, what's it, Gamble?
I don't know, man.
Rosewood
I only know
and
Reinhold.
I don't know what the fucking names are.
The BFG. I'm getting you off of this.
The point
Whatever
is-
tangent.
The point is, we occasionally hit like a 3-point shot, but by and large, we're there to make Ben look funnier.
It's true.
Hey, you know what? I'm the producer, and I just make sure that those episodes come out crystal clean.
Yeah.
College Ben. We call
Crystal Skull. College Ben. We call him College
Oh,
Ben.
well, we're going to get to that
We'll get to
later.
that. We'll get to
Okay.
that later.
Okay, so a couple things happen. One, DreamWorks is like crumbling between their fingers, right?
It's true.
They had this deal. Reliance was financing them. Disney was distributing their movies.
Right. Who's Reliance again?
They're an Indian company?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, they are an Indian company, a
Yes.
division of the Reliance Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, an Indian conglomerate.
This is a
worth
big thing.
$13 billion.
In our post-globalization world, in which the film industry is becoming much more international,
Oh.
and box office grosses rely far more on overseas grosses. than
And
domestic.
you've been noticing it. You go to see your Vin Diesel movie, and there's like 3 studio logos in front of it that
Yeah.
you're like, what's this? This
Right.
looks not American.
because it's not
Hey,
like
it's a global world.
it's a global world, and it's not like, oh, this is a production company. This is Spyglass Pictures. It's like this is H Brothers Media International.
Hey, H Brothers, don't mess with them.
You know, but it's all these sort of foreign companies who want to get into.
Well, not only
American
that, there's
blockbuster
money to be
business.
made now.
Yeah.
Like, much more money to be made worldwide than there used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, studios want to put their own money into these films less and less.
Yeah.
You know? So they'll go like, hey, you're an Indian company. You want to be
Right.
playing with
you
the big
get
boys in
international
Hollywood.
profits or half
How-
whatever, you know.
How do you like to invest in a Disney Spielberg movie?
Sure.
And on paper, that sounds like, oh, that's the most Hollywood thing in the world. Spielberg had never made a Disney film before.
Mm.
He had bought the rights to BFG in the 80s.
Yeah, 1991, actually.
Okay. Book came out in the 80s. He bought the rights in 91.
Sure.
His plan was he wanted to make it with Robin Williams.
Yep.
He thought it was a perfect Robin Williams vehicle.
You know, I mean, Steven Spielberg loved Robin Williams.
He did.
They were close friends.
Mhm.
He famously, when he was making Schindler's List, he would call Robin Williams at the end of his work days a lot just to, you know, talk to someone funny and like cheer himself up because it was a bummer.
And that's what inspired
make
Robin
it-
Williams to make Jacob the Liar.
The greatest film ever made. And you know, he made Hook with him, but I feel like he's always like, oh, this would be good for Robin, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's always trying to find like more Robin vehicles.
Right, because other than Dr. No in AI, Hook was the only...
I believe so, right?
Real
It's their only
romance.
And we
collaboration.
love Hook on this podcast, right? I mean, that's like one of our faves. Wouldn't you guys say it's probably one of the best
That is not a flat
best
fact. That is
movies.
a fairy tale.
Yeah, like I mean, boy, nostalgia.
Can I read something quickly? Can I read something quickly?
You maybe.
Huck and Lindsay, my former roommate,
Oh, sure.
current neighbor, husband of Sophie Fader,
Yeah.
one of my best friends. He texted me.
Okay. It's a long text. I'm not going to let you read that all on air.
Hook is a good movie, and I have seen it as an adult.
Yeah, he's wrong.
And I said, stop it, Hawken. And Hawken responded to me, no, you can't take this away from me. It's a witty postmodern take on a classic story.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
Pan
definitely
embodies
postmodern.
the role of the patriarchal imperialist oppressor.
No, it doesn't.
Yep.
Using the same manipulation and charm to take advantage of his daughter as he used on Wendy, who has taken...
No. Don't read all of this on the air. I can't. No.
I'm going to
no.
post it on Reddit.
Hook's shitty. Yeah, you can make all kinds of fucking academic arguments about it if you want. It just-
Rufio.
yeah, I got no beef with Rufio.
Bangarang?
Bangarang. That stuff's good. I got no beef with Rufio. To
I got
be clear.
beef with Rufio.
Do you?
I think he's a dick.
Looky, I got hooky.
Yeah, that's true, though.
His last words. Well, no, I think he says some other things.
But Spielberg himself is like, yeah, I whiffed on that one.
Yeah, because it's a whiff.
And he says, he's like,
Wasn't I just talking about this where he's like, yay, like childhood, and everyone's
Yes.
like, no.
You didn't do it on the mic, but you were talking about
Oh,
this yesterday.
it wasn't on mic. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So it has been suggested to us by past future guest friend of the show, Katie Rich,
Yeah,
that we do Hook as our bonus episode.
yeah, and I'm all for it.
And I'm against it because I think there's a very good chance we'll go back and do the first half of Spielberg.
I don't think that's true. I think this whole Spielberg thing's been great, but a huge slog, and there's just no way we're going to go back and do the rest of it.
I think we will someday.
No.
I think we have to go back.
You want to do a Color Purple episode?
Yeah, it'll be 12 minutes long. If you
Yeah?
thought our Amistad episode
Yeah,
was
exactly.
great.
You want to go back there? You want to go back to that pool?
Yeah. But he, in interviews, when he does like career retrospective interviews and they go
Yeah.
through like all of his movies, he goes like, yeah, I just like, I feel like the opening section's good. And I feel like once I got to Neverland, I couldn't think of anything other than like, I don't know, paint the trees pink. Like he himself admits, he's just like, yeah, I just sort of like, I look at it and it feels really forced.
That's
and
one problem with
manufactured.
Hook too, is that it's like everything is too magical. Like
Yes.
you know, what much better is that Kyle Mooney, Beck Bennett Hook spoof. That thing's good.
I don't know
Have
if
you
I've
seen that thing?
No.
It's great.
I do think the opening stretch of Hook is good. I think the stuff before he goes to Neverland's solid Spielberg, like Sugar Rush kind of
It's not bad. I think Hoffman's great. I think Hoskins is great. I think
Hoskins is the best part.
when is he not?
When was he not?
When is he not in any of the films he was ever in?
Never not.
Never not. And I think there's fun to have with
Sure.
Hook.
Sure.
I think their exchanges are fascinating. Like it is weird what's going on there.
Uh-huh.
And obviously Carrie Fisher wrote a lot of the dialogue in Hook, and the dialogue is weirdly adult. Like you
Yeah.
know, especially the Hoffman Smee, you know, the Hook Smee stuff.
There are elements of Hook
Then
that are
there's
interesting.
this goddamn nightmare shit, which is just basically like when I became a dad, that was the greatest moment of my life. But like over and over and over again. It's all about like being a dad and being nice to your kids. This is what Peter Pan is about. It's about being scared of your dad.
I also think it looks bad. I think it's like a shitty looking movie. Like I find the design really uninteresting, and Spielberg himself comps to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the design is bad. And I also don't know why the Lost Boys have like ramps.
Yeah, I just think it's all
Why do they have ramps?
it's all garish
Do they
and kind of
build
like
the ramps?
extreme, and
There's
they have like
only,
colored
like-
mohawks.
There's only like a dozen Lost Boys and they're children.
Yeah.
It's not like how'd they build all those ramps?
Yeah.
Hey, when you got a board and you just want to do some jumps, you make ramps.
I'll say this. You're right.
That is true.
Skater Benny.
That is true.
But
That
I'll
is
say
true.
this. It is better than Pan, I think.
Oh, I haven't seen Pan.
One day we might do Pan.
Well, our listeners are going to love us shitting on Hook again.
BFG.
Okay, so in that sort of time, right before Hook, he's
That's
like,
true, right?
Yeah.
He's thinking like this would be a great Robin Williams project,
right, and the big hurdle was,
okay,
how do I get the BFG and Sophie acting in the same frame? He said there are technologies you can use. You know, you can use green screen, you can use forced perspective, you can use all this sort of shit. You know,
Yep.
While having a live action actor play the BFG, but you're not going to be able to get them in the same frame actually reacting to each other. You're going to have to shoot the plates separately. And he really wanted that.
It's not just that, though. Do you not know about this?
What?
They did a famous read-through of the, like, whatever, the first pass, you know. I think it was, let me see. I actually have it. Robin Swycord, Nicholas Kazan.
Okay.
Like, of a screenplay. Robin Williams was doing his Robin Williams thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you can't do that because, like, the BFG is, like, really specific language. Like,
Sure.
he talks really deliberately as part of the joke.
Yeah.
And, like, he uses all these weird words and, like, and Robin Williams is probably just going to, oh, yeah, yo, oh, yeah, no. He's just doing
my gun there.
exactly. And like, so they were like, this might actually be the worst project for Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Like, this might not be a good idea at all.
Terrible idea.
Which is funny because, of course, Robin Williams totally has it in him, like you see a movie like Insomnia or whatever, to
Right.
give, like, an incredibly restrained performance.
So good in that.
He
Yeah.
is. But I think when it's a kid's movie, Robin Williams wants to be big,
Yeah.
right? He wants to do his thing.
Well, I remember seeing Robin Williams do ASCAT at the UCB Theater.
You talked to me about
When
that.
he was like a surprise guest. And he was never on a Lloyd team, but he did do ASCAT a couple times.
Never on a Lloyd team. Yeah. Ben's happy.
And he, any time a joke came to him, he would interrupt the scene to like make it. And not just like, oh, here's a one-line, here's like a funny thing I could say, but he would be in a scene where it was like Miriam Tolan's playing a travel agent. He's there trying to book a vacation. And in the middle of it, he thinks of some funny fucking joke about Sarah Palin.
Sure.
And he just starts going on a Sarah Palin riff, and then he transforms his scene partner into Sarah Palin, middle of the scene. Shit like that. I think just sometimes in certain zones where it's like, it's improv,
Yeah.
or it's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
He can't fucking lock it down.
Right.
Or rather, he couldn't lock it down.
In 2011,
Uh-huh.
I'm just, DreamWorks gets the rights. I'm just giving you some history here.
Right.
Melissa Mathison writes a script. In John Madden is hired to direct. The great John Madden.
Oh, the great.
Miss Sloane's Own.
Yeah.
John Madden. What else has he made? I mean, obviously Shakespeare in Love, but like
The
Captain
Debt.
Corelli's Mandolin.
Captain Corelli's Mandolin.
Madden 94.
He made Madden 94, of
He did
course.
only Madden 94 though.
And the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel franchise.
He made both of them.
He made both.
Good job, Johnny.
Yeah.
Then Spielberg gets put on it in 2014. An
Right.
upgrade from Madden, one might argue.
I remember that was kind of exciting. I went, ooh, Spielberg hasn't made a pure children's film in a while. Kind of exciting.
It sounds, and like the BFG is such a famous work of children's literature.
Yes.
We've all read it.
Yes.
We all grew up with all that big friendly giant.
Right.
And it almost seems too obvious, but hey, he hasn't made an obvious move like that in a while, like you're saying, right?
That's what was exciting. Was it
Right.
like he hadn't done it in a while? Here's a movie about a dude who literally makes dreams, right?
Correct.
He's got a little DreamWorks
He is a
in his
dream
hut.
brewer.
Right. And the other thing was that Roald Dahl is dark, right?
Definitely weird and can be very dark. Although I would say the BFG is one of the less dark Roald Dahls.
I agree.
Like it's not like the witches or like the twits or like the really creepy Roald Dolls.
I agree. But
But it's got some
yes. And if
some
Spielberg
nasty giants.
If Spielberg, it's still got some fucking
some nasty
nasty
giants.
It's got some nasty ass giants in this movie.
Big giants.
Yeah, Ben must love this movie.
That's true. This is a big movie.
It's a huge movie.
It's so good.
All right. What do you want to say?
If Spielberg was going to return to the children's well, the idea of doing it with a Roald Dahl film was kind of exciting because it was like,
Yeah.
Well, there is sort of fucking moral morass.
There's sort
in
of
the
fucking moral
Roald
morass.
Dahl world.
Yeah, but less so in the BFG. The BFG is more of a fairy
Sure.
story.
Sure.
Disney was going to distribute through Touchstone. Then they come on board as a co-financier.
Yeah.
Not Touchstone Disney. This is a Walt Disney production.
That was a big deal. Spielberg had never done a capital D Disney movie before, and that was their whole selling point. Was like, it's Spielberg making Disney movies.
DreamWorks still serves as copyright holder, but they lose their marquee status.
Sure.
Instead, Amblin gets put in front of the movie.
And this is the shift where now Spielberg movies are Amblin movies.
And Spielberg making Bridge of Spies, says to Mark Rylance, you know what? You should be the BFG.
Yeah.
Like, I love this. I love you. And we're going to do a motion capture performance with you as the BFG.
Right.
And they have a great time. They go all over Britain. They find a little girl, Ruby Barnhill. Is that her name?
Adorable. Great pair of glasses.
She's got some glasses. They get Bill Hader and Jermaine Clement and some other folks to do some mocap stuff.
Sure.
They get that Penelope Wilton in there to be the queen.
Rafe Spall.
Rafe Spall and Rebecca Hall to be two footmen who are fucking.
Spall and Hall. Ballin' to the wall.
Yeah. I think that's it, right? I sort of covered all
Comes out to a collective shrug. Thank you all for listening. Remember to rate, review, subscribe.
It comes out July 1st, so it's for that sort of July 4th weekend period, right?
Right. It used to be called Big Willie Weekend when Will Smith used to dominate 4th of July, and Disney was making play for it to be Big FG weekend.
Right.
And it didn't fly. Came out to a collective shrug.
Yeah, we'll talk about the box office later, but not a hit. No.
So 2 things I think motivated Spielberg to kick this one up in his playlist, right? Make this next, and also take the reins back after John Madden. From John Madden. One is
Melissa Mathison passes away.
This was her last script.
This was her last script. She wrote E.T. for him. It's a great screenplay.
Yes.
She worked with him, I guess, I don't know. I mean, she worked with him on Twilight Zone.
She was married to Harrison Ford for a while. Yeah. He and Harrison Ford are famously close. I think they were just very, very close as people. I think she worked on a lot of scripts that didn't get made.
Yeah.
But they remained in touch. And
she was always, a Hollywood legend, basically.
I think he'd want to honor her.
Fair.
Okay? 2 is the post-Tintin mocap kick.
Sure.
He was like, I had fun with this.
He had fun with it. He sees Mark Rylance and is like, he's putting dots. He's imagining dots on his face, you know?
There was some dots and spandex.
It could be a dotty performance right here.
And so it all kind of pieces together. He goes, here's my friend's final script.
Yeah, no.
Here's the technology to make it.
We've said it.
Here's the guy. Let's make it. And I think those 3 things are good motivating factors. What wasn't a motivating factor is the material itself and the way it existed.
Okay, look. I've got some things to say.
Sure.
1, I do think we should maybe have a 5-year-old on this podcast. For this episode.
Okay. Do you think a 5-year-old would like this movie?
That'd be my question.
You're right. That's the thing.
I would want to know because I see
the
the movie. I went to a screening. I reviewed it for The Atlantic. Like, I saw it and I was like, am I just like too old for this? Like, this is not like the kind of movie where I can view it as a grown up or a child. Like, I'm like, this is all childlike wonder. Would a kid like this? Like, is this just for kids?
Can I argue my counterpoint to that?
Well, I have counterpoints, but go ahead.
Here's my counterpoint. I'm a fucking child. Like,
you are a child.
If anyone,
you're a disgusting child.
Yeah, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously,
yes, I do.
If anyone was going to be able to like buy into like fucking childlike wonder, who cares? It's fun. It would be me.
Indeed.
There are things in this movie I like, but I find the anytime the movie's playing the childlike wonder hand, it feels like they're like slamming the card down on the table.
I agree.
And then driving a knife into the card and being like, this is wonderful!
Okay. But also, here's the other thing a 5-year-old would say if I asked them what they thought of the BFG. I fell asleep 45 minutes in, and it's a 2-hour movie.
Yep.
It's 2 hours long.
And here's the mission.
So I come out of there going like, I mean, we both know Spielberg can't make a short movie.
Yep.
But I was just like, what the fuck is he thinking with this being 2 hours long? The BFG is not a long book. It's not like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's like a proper chapter book that's long. Like, it's a short book.
It's like a novella, and it has almost no plot.
It doesn't really have a plot.
Yeah. You could compress the events of this film into 15 minutes if you wanted to. I will confess, when I saw this in theaters, I also fell asleep for like an 8-minute stretch.
I didn't fall asleep, but I definitely did that kind of like, where you're sort of nodding and you're like maybe not totally focused anymore. You're like,
I fell asleep for a section, and when I woke up, I was like, I have no idea how much of this movie I missed. Like, I could have fallen asleep for 1 minute
didn't miss anything.
or 25 minutes, and then I rewatched it last night, and I was like less than 10, like 5 or 8 minutes I fell asleep.
And there's visual effects.
A lot.
That are fine. But the movie thinks that that you have never seen such wonder before because it has whole sequences that are just like, look at him making a dream, or look at the tree of dreams, and it's just like, like it cannot get over how awesome it thinks it is.
Well, and the visualization of the dream stuff feels to me like
it's okay.
it feels like the Hook Neverland design, where it's just like real A to B thinking of just like, what would a dream look like? And then first pass idea, and they're like, great, let's put that on screen. And it's like, maybe let's push ourselves a little further to like come up with something that's actually kind of unique. It's just like, oh, bright colors and swirling spirits. That's all it is.
Yep.
But what was I going to say?
I don't know.
I was going to say, so it's about wonder. It's about dreams. It's about friendship. It's got a lot of fart jokes. I'm right in the pocket of someone who should like this movie.
No, okay. I want to be clear. I like the farting jogs.
I do
farting
too.
dogs is good. The farts are good. I'm into the farts.
Good bit.
You like the farts.
It's a good bit.
Yeah. Everything else I'm not that into. Come on, when the dogs fart and they like shoot all over their room.
Yeah, I like the farting. I'm just saying, I like the
And
farting.
I like that Rafe and Rebecca are fucking.
I like that so much. I like the farting in this movie. All I'm trying to say
Farting and
is
fucking A+.
usually any movie, agreed. Usually any movie that has this much farting in it, where the farting is this well executed, that would grandfather me into liking the movie.
Yeah, you've made your point, which is that you're an idiot child.
Okay, great.
I feel like everyone's on board with that one.
Point made.
Yeah.
Let's go through the.
Here's the plot. She's a little girl in an orphanage. The BFG takes her for some reason. Why does he take her?
And even this opening section of the movie, right, with her in the orphanage and the voiceover, and it's these pillars of light coming in, moonlight coming in through the window, and all of that, and this like really ricketed side winding street. I look at this and I'm like, this feels like a Spielberg fan film.
It does a little bit.
This feels like some Stranger Things bullshit.
It does a little bit.
Where it's like, look at this short film that recaptures the magic of Spielberg movies.
I think there's some cool elements, such as like I like his horn thing, like
But I'm even talking just about like the first 3 minutes before the BFG exists, where it's just the little girl running around the orphanage and everyone's sleeping.
Yeah,
everything about it feels like a Spielberg homage. It feels like him doing like, what's that thing I used to do like 25 years ago?
Here's the thing, it's him doing the hits, right? And yeah, it does. Yeah, you're like, come on, do Surf's Up, don't do Surf and Safari. It's a deep Beach Boys reference. Forget it.
I thought you were saying Do Surf's Up, the penguin surfing animated movie.
And Oscar nominated.
I know.
Never forget.
Yeah.
The film came out in 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will not divide us.
I love you. Isn't Shia LaBeouf in that movie?
Yeah, that's the reason I'm making that joke. It's so funny to look at like Shia's like crassest, most commercial movies like that.
Did he screen Surf's Up at his All My Movies?
He must have, right?
I wonder if he counted the animated film.
He's the lead in that.
Yeah, he is.
He's Cody the Penguin. Haven't seen Surf's Up. Know the name of the lead penguin. Little girl. She's lonely. She's walking around the orphanage while everyone else is sleeping. It's later established that the BFG hears the cries of loneliness or something. He hears the heart of a lonely child.
And the story of the BFG kind of is that they're both lonely souls. You know, she's a lonely orphan who sleeps at weird hours or doesn't sleep. She's an insomniac. And he kidnapped a child like 150 years ago, and then the kid died. What a weird movie. He kidnaps her, he takes her to giant country, so there's a lot of him running around Britain.
You're really trucking through this. I want to stop for 1 second.
On what?
Ben, what do you think about the size of this guy?
Oh, for crying out loud.
Everyone's huge.
But let's just talk about the BFG first.
What? Just like how am I vibing with him?
Well, like I don't want to talk about the other giants yet. I want to talk about like, here is a dude walking down a fucking street,
right?
And he's the size of the buildings,
right?
And he's got this fucking musical instrument that looks like a lamppost. Like, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, first of all, dope.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're listening to me finally. All right? It's like I've said this from the start.
The culture is listening.
I've said this from the start. I don't care about the little things, right? I'm talking about just big things. Yeah. But what's nice, too, is like you get how big he is because he's next to the building.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like you see his instrument and then a normal lamppost.
Not into this. Okay.
I love this.
Here's the other question, though.
Yeah.
You see the BFG, big. But then you go to Giant Country. In Giant Country, there are bigger giants.
Well, that's why I want to take
He's
this one
small.
step at a time. I want to take this one step at a time.
I know.
So how do you feel? You're conflicted because you've already formed an attachment to this guy who you think is huge,
right?
And now they're bigger guys, but these bigger guys straight up dickheads.
Totally. It's actually like a Ren and Stimpy episode.
Yes.
So Yeah, I'm conflicted now.
Because usually for you, bigger is better. But
Right,
this time,
right.
bigger is meaner.
Yup. It's a conundrum. It really is. And
I
it
hate
shook
this.
me
I'm not
to
listening.
my core,
Donald
David.
Trump tweeted some weird thing, so I'm mostly watching Twitter react to that.
What do you tweet?
You want me to find it?
Yeah. So we're recording this in February.
Yeah.
This is
what
coming
he-
out
here's
like
what he
Memorial
tweeted.
Day.
I actually, I literally don't know what this means.
Okay.
I literally don't
let's
know
try,
what it means.
Let's try this.
Let's try to decipher.
Big increase in
Big?
Oh, interesting.
Big increase in traffic into our country from certain areas. All right, so we
Giant
know what
country.
he's talking about.
The areas he's talking about are giant country.
Yep. Oh, man.
All right,
Wow.
okay.
It's like
so,
all meant to be.
So far, no, seriously, guys. Literally, our president tweeted this. And I
Yeah,
have
we're
no
being
idea
deadly
what-
serious. It's about fucking giant country.
comma. Big increase in traffic into our country from certain areas, comma. While our people are far more vulnerable, okay, comma. As we wait for what should be, capital letters, easy D. What's easy D? I don't get it.
Defense, baby.
I guess so. Maybe he must mean defense, but like, what the? It's just crazy, guys.
When I hear D, I think of dick because people say like,
Yeah, you want the D.
I want to get the D this week.
You want that sunny D.
Yeah. That's what I call it.
So that's what I was reading about while you guys were doing whatever it was you were doing about giants.
We were doing serious film criticism. So these giants are bigger, but they're meaner.
Right.
But then
Well-
counterpoint. There's a part where the BFG tries to give Sophie a bath, and they both get pretty wet. There's a lot of water.
True. There's
That's
some water.
true.
Man,
But
this is not really a
kid's
primarily
movie,
wet
and-
film.
Yeah,
Sure,
and
sure.
We're tipping toeing on some territory I'm not necessarily into. But
Here's my
there's
other
a bath
thing.
scene.
All right,
It's okay.
All
I
right,
like water.
tangentially related to this, because
Okay.
the giants are big. But what I like is that his tools are big.
I like that.
So, because when he takes her to his home, pretty much the first thing he does is chop up a cucumber, a snozcumber, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the first set piece in a weird way, is her getting out of the way as he chops this thing.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. He's got a big chopper.
I think the snozcumber looks amazing.
It looks cool.
I think it's probably the best looking
This
thing in
is
this entire
at the start.
movie.
I was like, "This is going to be fun." It's going to be what if you were small
Yeah.
in a big person's house, and all his stuff was big.
Right. Just because you skipped over it, I like the section where he's stealing her and he's hiding. He's got camouflage.
Yes,
and
that
stuff.
is cool.
That feels like Spielberg having fun.
Yeah, and then
Having a laugh.
all of him hiding and then bounding sort of across the British Isles.
Yeah.
That's
being
that's fun.
Okay, we're cooking here. We're cooking. Then he's chopping up the snozcumber. It looks fucking great. Great visuals. But immediately I find this issue starts poking its head.
What's your issue?
The compositing in this movie is a nightmare.
Go on.
So I think the BFG looks great.
Looks very cool. Very cool. Use of Mark Rylance's expressive features,
Yeah.
but in a way that also bonds it to a very famous design,
Yes.
right? Quentin Blake's illustrations, and it just works. It works. It works great.
I think they threaded that needle well. So from
and
a
also,
design
we'll
standpoint,
talk about Rylance's performance.
design
but
standpoint, I think that looks good. I think his performance comes through. I think he looks
absolutely.
realistic.
I think it's a terrific performance.
You buy him as something. The viscerality of his home,
Yeah.
all the objects. When I was looking at snozcumber, I was like, man, that dripping snozcumber, that looks real.
Because this is Dahl's grossest book. He likes everything
Yes.
to be like dripping with snot or farting or
Right.
it's everything's yucky.
Right. I think Ruby Barnhill's very good in the movie.
I think she's cute.
And I think there are moments where there's they're doing shot reverse shot between her and the BFG. And when they go to her shot, it's clearly her on a set, which is a giant desk
Right.
surrounded by giant scenery made to look like the items of his house. And those things look great.
But
I think anytime the two of them are in the same frame.
I'm not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. It looks
So by association, you're not wrong either.
True.
And it's this thing we've talked about. We talked about maybe on the Crystal Skull episode, and I said I didn't remember who it was. I think it's Ignatiy Vishnevetsky is the one who said that there's this fucking ratio with Spielberg, which is he's really good at compositing CGI elements into the movie if it's 75% real, 25% like the T-Rex. But when you flip it and it's 75% fake, 25% real.
It's a challenge anyway.
Yeah, and I just think he is known for being very sort of improvisatory, on his feet with blocking out the shots and all of that.
Mm.
And in order to integrate elements live action elements into a CGI environment, you have to really block out your things in advance and know your lighting and all of that. And I think it goes against what he likes about motion capture, which is that he can just pick up the camera and do whatever he wants.
Sure.
He's unencumbered. He doesn't have to light,
Here's the other problem.
Yeah.
He brings her to his house.
Yes.
There's some business with him chopping up a cucumber.
Yeah.
Then there is no plot
Whatsoever.
at all.
Right.
For like a lot of the movie.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
25 minutes. There's like absolutely nothing.
The plot is just like, this is my house. And she's like, literally, what is happening? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm the BFG.
Gee, I feel as that Grunschnappel's eaten.
And you're having fun listening to this.
Yes.
To Rylance just have so much fun with this
He's
weird
killing it.
language.
He's killing it.
But it's not like a fast-paced movie.
No, it like becomes an episode of Cribs where there's only one segment. Like one of the things, like Cribs, it was like, oh, you're going to get 4 Cribs in an episode.
Right.
And this is just like one 30-minute episode of Cribs where he's right here, this is my Whiz Popper collection. He
does drink some Whiz Popper, I guess, so he farts.
Yeah, I mean, fun, but it's just like...
There's the whole thing with the ship.
Yeah, she sleeps on a ship, and he gives her the bath, which, I mean, you know, once again, congrats to Steven Spielberg on doing a bath scene that doesn't feel creepy.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a giant, like, that's just a tough thing to do.
Giant old man giving a little girl a bath doesn't feel creepy.
Right. It
The
feels
other
creepy when we
giants
describe it.
It
but,
does.
Yeah.
The other giant. So I'm just gonna move past it. The other
Please
giants
do.
stop by, and so you get the antagonism, I guess, and
But
they
then
use the runt.
Then they just leave.
Then they leave.
It's like, okay, cool, no immediate danger. And then he's like, try out some new clothes here, try out. And she puts on the red jacket, and he immediately is like, oh, what the fuck? And she's like, what? He goes, never mind, I'll tell you about 30 minutes from now in the plot.
It's gonna be important.
Yeah. Later, this plots his points is important.
45 minutes more like. Then you learn that he's a dream guy.
Dreamweaver.
He's Dreamweaver. I mean, it's like,
got
but
the
he's also
DreamWorks.
like, he's like that Walter White. Like, it's like all the other giants need his sweet, sweet dreams, like to go
Yeah.
to sleep, right?
Right.
And so and that's why they leave him alone, because it's
Yeah.
like he gives them the dreams.
He's got the hookup. But then he
And
also...
he takes the dreams from children,
Right.
or he gives it to
He
children
gives them to children.
as well. So
Like,
he's
'cause
doing
just-
that as well.
Because it's almost like... He's almost like the Tom Shoes or Warby Parkers of dreams. Where it's like, for every dream I give to a giant, I'll give one to a child in need.
Perfect.
Like Casper mattresses.
He's like the Tom Shoes of dream.
Right, or Warby Parkers of dreams. And the dreams come shipped in the box the size of a mini fridge, David.
That's all true. And then eventually the giants figure out. I'm not listening. Figure out
It gives them the dreams!
We're not going to pay by Casper. That she's there because they find her blanket or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then he like kicks her out.
Well, because there's that scene where they're like bowling each other with cars and buses.
That thing is so stupid, and it takes forever.
And-
but this is the thing. This is why I'd want to talk to a 5-year-old and be like, "Did you like that shit?" And maybe they'd be like, "That was great. You crazy?"
That feels like some real Lost Boys shit to me. Doesn't it feel like that's
Yeah.
some bangarang bullshit?
Bang-a-rang! But at least in the Lost Boys, it's like, it's partly, the drama is partly that Peter Pan is now an old, like a middle-aged guy who's like, you
Right.
kids shouldn't be doing this, these hijinks. And he's got to learn that hijinks are okay again.
Well, and it's like in all this shit, it's like there's a mild sense of danger, but it never really feels like Sophie's that close to being discovered.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, it's just watching them do some... Like,
And weirdly, the big giants are just not that threatening. Like,
No.
even though they are hostile,
Yeah.
stupid, and big,
Yeah.
they are big.
They're bullies, though, and I don't like. You know what? I don't
Yeah.
like bullies.
Yeah. They're the bully-friendly giants. The bully farthead giants.
Yeah. So I might like things big, but I don't like bullies.
Hey, good stance.
That's right.
Here's a question. I've seen this film twice now, minus 8 minutes the first time I saw it when
Fair
I fell
enough.
asleep.
Whatever.
Is there any moment watching this movie where you know which giant is played by Bill Hader?
No.
Isn't that weird?
You know which one is Jermaine Clement.
100%.
But apart from that, like, not really.
Jermaine Clement's the main one who's like Bone Cruncher or whatever, right?
Flesh lump eater.
Flesh lump eater, and he talks a lot. He's our our primary antagonist, and it's clearly Jermaine, right?
Yes, and then there are like many other giants.
Right.
There are several. One of them is played by Bill Hader. I believe it's the Blood Bottler, but you don't get that in.
I mean, collectively, all the other giants have less than 10 lines, right? I'd say there are
Definitely.
5 or 6 other giants, and together.
Look, maybe Hader only had like a few days. Like,
But here's the thing: I think he must have been there all the time because those giants
you
were
would
on
imagine so.
screen
They're
a
in
lot.
They're on screen a lot.
I remember him talking a lot about making this movie. And I think his impetus for making this movie was very clear, which was, I want to be in a Spielberg movie.
Of course. That's the impetus everybody has to be in these movies.
But Hader specifically is like a huge movie nerd, loves filmmaking, right?
Get your dick out of his mouth. My God.
It's so warm in there.
No, I like Bill Hader a lot. He's great.
There's that thing, it's like, I was like, okay, so I guess this is like Jonah Hill.
Wait, other way. Get his dick out of your mouth. Whatever. It doesn't
Tastes
matter.
good.
Carry on. Yeah. Sorry.
It could go both ways.
It's true, it could.
It's like Jonah Hill in Hail Caesar or Django, where it was clear, like, he just wanted to work with those
Yeah,
filmmakers.
why not? Yeah, exactly.
But the difference is that, like, his face is on screen.
I can't tell you how hard he worked on this movie, but you're claiming that he worked hard.
I remember hearing him talk
If
a
so,
lot
the
about
effort
it.
was not well earned. I'm
Well,
sorry. Or, like, it wasn't worth it.
It just feels weird if you're Spielberg and you have Hader there to not be like, you know what, I should give him one scene where he really has something to do.
Right, or Hader gets to do a
Just because the guy's fucking good.
comedy
Like,
bit, essentially.
right, give
yeah.
him, like, a joke.
But then again, this movie's 2 hours long. So it's not like I want more things.
Yeah.
It's a long movie.
It's a long fucking movie.
Like,
He talked a lot about he did a lot of press for it. Like, I remember him going on the late night circuit and being like, BFG is in theaters this weekend. And it's like, I saw it. I don't know where you fucking are in the movie. I know you're one of these.
well, also, but wait a second, those late night shows will book Bill Hader or the driver of a hat anyway, right? Because he's an
great
easy
stories.
guest. Yeah, you know, he's going to have fun.
But, like, what's his name? Adam Godley. Is that his name? Adam Godley, who's a great British stage actor.
He is the man hugger. Yes.
Yes.
You would know Adam Godley quite possibly if you saw him. He's got a very distinctive face.
Very distinctive face.
He's been in some movies, but he's a British stage actor first.
Played Mike TV's dad in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He's
Yeah.
been in a lot of films. He has been on Broadway a lot.
He's tall and skinny. You definitely know.
He's
like,
got big ears, Dumbo ears.
sorry, big ears. Yeah.
He's a good character actor. There's the beginning of the movie when Sophie's in her orphanage looking out the window.
Yep.
There's a group of drunken louts, and she yells at them.
Oh, and I see, and that's them, right?
That's them.
That's that little joke where it's like those are the giants, you know,
Right.
but
It's like the Wizard
played
of
by the
Oz thing
people.
where it's like, oh, and then they become the whatever, right? But Bill Hader's not in that group. And knowing that who Adam Godley is, I was like, oh, he must be one of the giants, right?
Sure.
The big unfriendly giants in this movie.
Man hugger.
So then when we get introduced to the rest of the group, there's one dude who looks like Adam Godley.
Right.
There's one CGI giant who Mark Rylance style has big ears, the same
I think I'm
features.
going to have to cut you off because this is getting boring.
It just feels weird that they didn't do fucking anything with him.
I agree. Okay.
Okay, so then this and that, and then she loses her blanket, and they're like, fuck.
Well, the BFG's like, well, you mean the giants as well?
Fuck
They're like,
Wickles.
Here's
Fuzzin'
the
stickles.
thing that doesn't make any goddamn sense. They want to eat a child so bad.
They like
Just
human
go
beings.
to England and just eat some children, right?
Yeah, right.
And like, what's one? There's like 9 of them. What, one child between us? She's tiny.
But haven't some of them been, because later they talk about kids being kidnapped?
Right. I guess they've been. It's pretty fucked up, but I mean, that is Roald Dahl, I guess.
Right.
This movie skirts by the issue of how many children exactly are being eaten
Yes.
a day.
Right.
All you know is that the BFG had a child that they ate back in the day.
BFJ. So they're
She's
like,
all right.
I
You're a
think
little
she's
too
cute,
high
yes.
on her.
I'm not doing that because I think she's the best. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
I think her audition probably was just her having to say BFG 10 different ways. Because there's that one scene where she's trying to get his attention. And I keep on going like,
BFJ.
I was like, she can't come up with another reading of this. And then she just keeps on coming up with slight variations. BFJ. I think she's cute. I also think
cute.
it's interesting that this is the only female protagonist in a Spielberg movie ever.
Is that true?
Ever.
Oh my god.
That's actually a huge,
awful.
huge. No, wait. What about Sugarland Express? Goldie Hawn.
Oh, fair point.
Yeah, his first movie.
Fair point.
And
So
I'm
it's his,
now I'm thinking,
it's his first one since.
and
his
we're
first-
talking about movies where it's at least one of the 2 leads is a female protagonist, right? Like
Oh,
because
well, fuck, Color Purple.
Color Purple, of course.
And then
Not a
Always
lot
doesn't
else.
really count, right?
Not Always is a weird movie.
Yeah.
You know what? Holly Hunter is the protagonist of Always, kind of, but no,
Okay.
Richard Dreyfuss is more the protagonist.
Right.
Yeah. He's just a ghost, so
Okay.
it's kind of like
So like 3.
I'm just running down the list just to be
Yeah.
sure. I mean, yeah, basically.
I mean, inarguably, this is his first female-led film since the 80s.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, well, as we noted on Warhorse, Emily Watson is top billed. Top billed.
Yeah, but Joey's the lead, though.
I know. Well, Yeah.
He's a warhorse, ain't he? This horse here.
Yeah, it's
This horse
actually
a warhorse.
this has a lot of the same shitty problems as Warhorse. I don't think Spielberg should be making movies about Britain because I think he thinks Britain is like eternally stuck in like 1910. Everyone's a farmer.
Warhorse.
Like, there's nuance to our country. Come on,
Steven,
Stevie.
people have like professional chimney cleanings, all right? They don't hire orphans.
Oh boy.
So the BFG is like, look, they got your fucking blanket. Or he's like, oh, they got your fucking blanket. They're going to eat you. I got to bring you back home.
Yeah.
So he brings her back home, and she's like, this is not fair. We are friends. Friends don't do this. And he's like, remember like 30 minutes ago when I told you I was going to tell you about that jacket? Here's the deal with the jacket. Last boy I took, we were really good friends. We were like, hashtag the two friends, the original two friends, and the Giants ate him. So that fucking sucks. Haven't gotten over that. Don't want that to happen to you. And she's like, I'm strong. I can defend myself. BFG. And he's like, Fuzzwinkle says no, it's about.
We should, honestly, the only way this episode would be good is if we did it all as him. Because just him talking is the only good thing.
Honestly, I just want to have Griffin do all the parts and just watch him.
BFG!
BFG. Giz Vumples took Herm Boggs feelers.
But, like, we are forgetting the, 25 minutes of him being like, here's the tree where the dreams are, and it's like you jump through the water. And it's just, endlessly slow.
Okay. So
it's so boring.
This movie goes from a half-hour episode of Cribs to a half-hour episode of whatchamacallit, How It's Made.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, we bring you here to the Dream Factory. This here is the Dream Tree. You must catch a dream sprite.
It's not far off from a movie like Pan, where they're like, did you know that in Neverland there's, fairy dust is mined in the fairy mines? And we're like, we never cared about the fairy dust.
Yeah, and if there's one lesson we've learned time and time again from the last 20 years of big studio filmmaking, it's that we love it when magic is explained in detail.
Now, in the BFG, I mean, a lot of this is in the book, and obviously that is inherent to the point of the BFG is that he's a
Dreamweaver.
Yeah.
Dream
Weaver.
It's a great joke.
The Fuzzwimples.
It's a great joke in Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A great drop.
Great drop. Great movie.
Yeah.
Dream.
But I just don't care. It's so boring. And I get so mad about it. I get so mad about how long this movie is.
It's so long.
And whether I would subject my child to it if I had one.
I don't think I would. It would be the last. If I was trying to show them every Roald Dahl adaptation, it'd be the last one I showed them.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'd show my kid The Witches. That movie fucked me up when I was a kid.
It's good though.
Yeah,
it is good. It's alarming.
Hey, I didn't see the James and the Giant Peach.
Oh,
it's great.
Is
That's
it great?
great.
Oh,
Because
it's great.
loved that.
That's
book.
a good movie. It's stop motion. It's cool.
Cool.
It looks cool.
Oh
yeah.
boy, I would love to do a
What are
Henry
some other-
Selick miniseries.
Well, it's just 3 movies,
It's
right?
4 movies.
Oh, right. That's true. And that is Monkey Bone is the real blank check there.
Yeah, and also I don't know if you followed it all, but his post-Coraline fallout has been really fascinating.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a weird story. Maybe we'll
He's
do Henry
kind of
Selick
a
someday.
hostile dude.
Yep,
Yeah.
it all comes into play. Interesting story. Great filmmaker. His own worst enemy.
Yeah, he was kind of his own worst enemy on The Night Before Christmas too, right? There was a lot of fighting over just what the script was, essentially.
Yeah, historically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a great filmmaker.
He is. I'd like him to make another movie.
I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about it someday on this.
Those
podcast.
things are expensive.
Yeah. That'd be a nice little tight 4-episode miniseries, though, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes we need just maybe a little tight.
What about Brad Bird, though?
Episode. Yeah, Brad Bird, though.
He's 5, but...
Yeah. So.
BFG.
BFG.
Look, we're stalling to get to the good part. There's one part of the BFGs that's good, and we're just like...
Right, okay. So this is what I was going to say. He leaves her. She's upset, right? And then she's like, fuck this. And she jumps out a window, and the BFG catches her.
Sure.
And the strings swell, right?
John Williams.
The triumphant, friendship saves the day. But it doesn't fucking mean anything because you only left 45 seconds ago.
It's true.
They treat it like it's Han Solo coming back in
Yeah.
the Millennium Falcon and being like, Luke, I got you. You know? Oh my God, I didn't think the BFG would come back. It's like he's fucking friendly. I knew he'd come back. What's he gonna do? Go eat schnoz nipples or whatever?
Yada, yada, yada. Look,
Okay, so now
She finally goes to the sanctuary of the little boy that was eaten. This is the crucial part.
yes,
And sees a portrait of Queen Victoria.
puts it all together in a way.
Puts it all together.
It's so obvious. How didn't she think of it sooner?
Why don't we just ask the Queen for help?
Why don't we plant the queen with a dream? Why don't we pull an Inception?
Now, it is funny that it's literally the plot of Inception.
It's literally fun.
It's the exact same idea.
Yeah.
They even break it down with like a scientist where he
Yes.
explains
Yeah.
all the ways it works.
Yeah.
Remember that guy? Whatever happened to
Dylan
him?
Brow?
Yeah, Dylan Brow, man. He was in like 3 hot movies, and then we never heard from him
He
again.
crushes that exposition though.
He had
Not bad at the exposition.
his first 2 movies were Avatar and Inception. He was on an episode of How Did This Get Made recently. It's really interesting.
Really? Oh, actually,
Yeah.
I got to listen to
It's
that.
really interesting. But yeah, it's bizarre how strongly he came out of the gate.
But then that's it.
And then he did Drag Me to Hell too.
That's before.
Those were all within 9 months.
Yeah,
or so.
that's the same year as Avatar.
He worked
yeah.
with Sam Raimi, James Cameron,
That's what I'm saying, man.
and Christopher Nolan. Okay, so they go to the chemist, they get the dream potion, they infect the queen, and then this chunk of the movie,
Literally, they infect the Queen.
they infect the queen.
Yeah.
This chunk of the movie is fun.
It's charming.
It's charming.
This part's pretty good. For one, and I remember in the book too, it is so, when you're a kid, so delightful, that idea of like, the Queen would fucking fix everything. She's a nice old lady like your mom, but she's also in charge of the country.
And also, like, why wouldn't this just take an extreme left turn? It's not like this has been plot-based up until now. Why it can be fucking whatever it wants to be.
So the Queen just wakes up and she's like, all right, summon my staff. I've got some news for you. Giants are real.
Yeah.
They exist in the like far like countryside. They are plotting to eat our children.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so I went to Toronto a couple weeks ago to visit friends, right? And the second we crossed the border, my friend, past and future guest, Sam Regal,
Past guest. He's not allowed back on.
he's allowed back.
No, we already talked about this.
He's allowed back.
No, his opinion is bad. We talked about it.
I'm going to fight you.
No.
He said, congratulations, we're officially in a country where Donald Trump isn't president.
Right.
And immediately, my anxiety was cut by like 25%.
Okay.
Like, I felt like my shoulders go down. The palpable like fear I'm living with on a day-to-day basis. And it was like, it's weird how instantly that goes out the
Okay.
window. The second we cut to the Queen and suddenly we're in a real set with real actors,
Yeah, I get you.
the movie has
You're
that
just
effect
like,
where you're
oh,
like,
good, right.
oh, it's a movie again.
And some pros are here.
Yeah.
We talked about him. Rafe, Becca,
Hall, balls to the wall.
it's great.
And Penelope Walton,
Penelope
who
Walton
your
is the
brother
Queen.
Joey tweeted when this movie came out in July. It's embarrassing that we're going to have to go through 9 months of Oscar season bullshit when Penelope Walton's obviously just going to win Best Supporting Actress for the BFG. I'm paraphrasing his tweet here, but I thought that
Good
was
tweet.
so funny.
It's a good tweet.
And she is really
She's
fucking
extremely
good. in this.
good. I mean, she's a pro.
Right.
She's a pro.
But she wakes up and she goes, oh, we had a stream.
We just dreamed that giants were real.
And she does it great. And there's a good Spielberg blocking here. And Rebecca Hall's her assistant. And Rafe Spall is the fucking walkie-talkie man. And then she tells the dream and she's kind of unnerved by it. And she goes, hey, would you mind closing the blinds? But there's a really good Spielberg moment where she like finishes the dream and then she looks right towards the camera for a long time. You're like, what's wrong? And then she goes like, would you mind closing the blinds? It's like, oh, she's now afraid that her
Right.
dream is real.
Right.
When they go to close the blinds, who's there? Sophie. And she goes, Queen.
Uh-huh.
She goes, I'm here with the BFG.
BFG
She goes, why are you here? And she goes, don't you remember, don't you? And she goes, I do remember. And he goes, where's the BFG? He goes, he's right here. And she starts calling for the BFG. And they're like, oh, fuck. This is some crazy girl who happens to match perfectly with the dream I just had.
Sure.
Except for the BFG, that's not there. And then she has to like give him the courage to come out. And he comes out. And now he's the BFG and he's talking to the Queen.
Yeah.
One note, Amazon, I watched this film on Amazon. They're subtitling. Every time they refer to the Queen, they call her Mom.
No, it's MAAM. That's just how it sounds.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Well, that's what Amazon said in the subtitling. I thought it was Mom.
No.
Don't they call the Queen Mother?
You call the Queen. You can call the Queen two things.
Okay.
You can call her Royal Majesty,
Okay.
or you can call her what the Americans would say is ma'am.
Right.
But in Britain, you say that like Mom.
I always thought it was MUM.
You are wrong.
Oh, wow.
You can call any member of the royal family by two things. If it's a lady, Mom, and if it's a man, Sir.
Okay.
You can only call the Queen or King Your Majesty. Everyone else is Your Highness.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to fucking remember that.
As long as you don't call them late for dinner.
What's
Exactly.
What's the Dutch and the Duchess? What do they do?
You would probably just call them like sir and mom. Like you probably would like. You could call them like, but Your Highness is always fine. But stick with sir and mom. It's easy. Because if you live in Britain and you do something nice, like say run a charity or do community service, or like do nice things, right?
Yeah.
You'll get invited to a garden party.
Oh.
Maybe with a Duchess or like the Duke of York or something, but maybe with the Queen.
Do you think
she hosts like many a year, and then the Queen comes and talks to you for 10 minutes?
Do you think we'll ever get invited to a garden party?
I think it's like 50-50 right now. I mean, we just,
you have dual citizenship, right?
I do.
So she probably listens to this.
I won't assume she listens to all of her subjects podcasts.
Right.
But I've just heard from the people I know who've met the Queen, I'm always told like she is the boss of small talk. Like she's been doing it her whole life. She comes in and you're just like, you just feel completely at ease, and she's like asking you about your shit. It's like chit chat. And then she leaves and you just feel like, I just talked to a pro. Like that was the best. She knows exactly what she's doing.
So it's the opposite of being mom.
Exactly.
Ben, 15,000 comedy points.
That's a lot of comedy points.
That was such a good joke, and Ben is now dancing in the studio.
He is dancing.
He's pumping his fist. He's dancing like a happy little boy. So they hold a little banquet, little lunchtime banquet, tea.
This shit's pretty good.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to figure out how to feed the BFG.
Yeah.
I like this
stuff.
stuff.
And once again, like the fucking ratio's flipped, and it's like 75% real shit.
Now you just have the BFG to worry about.
And it's good. Like now it's good.
Her corgis are there?
Because I feel like a lot of the earlier scenes, it looks like Sophie's like a color form.
No, I know what you mean.
Like just taped on top of the image.
Also, there's just a lot of corgis running around.
Yeah, and something the dogs start farting. I mean, everyone's having the whiz bangers or the fuzz popples or whatever.
Well, right, the Queen farts.
Queen farts. And now
Spielberg treats that like JFK getting assassinated or whatever, where it kind of cuts to like an obscure angle. Like, you know, they don't want to show it to you full force.
There's something really fun just about imagining Spielberg directing the farts.
Yes.
Being at ILM or Weta Digital and being like, I feel like the fart has to be bigger. How do we... God, can we go 10% more plumage on this? They're like big green farts. Like they're very visual farts.
Sorry, I'm tweeting at someone who tweeted me saying he didn't like the Lego movie. Had to correct that right away.
That's a dumb opinion.
Yeah. It's a dumb opinion.
That's a real dumb opinion.
Dumbass opinion.
Hey, you know what I'm not looking forward to?
What?
Warner Brothers running that Lego thing into the ground.
Boy, are they gonna.
It's so annoying.
It's actually, and you know, but we both knew this, that the minute the Lego movie made the money it did.
Yes.
It's like, uh-oh, like, they're not going to treat this with the sort of caution it deserves.
Well, no, the head of Warner Brothers film production came from fucking Six Flags. He didn't work in movies prior to this.
We've talked about it.
He's just a branding expert, and he has said, like, we have silos. We're like Disney. We have silos. There's the Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling
Warner
silo.
Brothers seems so fucking bad.
There's
It's
the
why
DC
Suicide
silo,
Squad happens.
and there's the Lego silo. They were like, those are our three big brands. And, hey, the J.K. Rowling and the DC ones aren't working.
I mean, the J.K. Rowling one is, I would say, working in terms of, like, that movie made decent money.
It made less than Suicide Squad.
But it made a huge amount internationally.
And they also have amusement
so.
parks and fucking merch and all this shit.
I mean, all those things are making money for them, but when's the bloom going to come off the rose? Like, when are you going to run through the goodwill in the franchise?
Well, to me, it's no. To me, it's more Trumpy, where it's like the bloom was never on the roses. For like, for example, for the DC movie.
Sure.
Like, literally, they made Man of Steel, and people were like, no bloom on this rose. And they were like, we got more. Like, you know, like, they didn't take any of it to heart. They're like, great, you liked it, right? And people were like, not really. They're like, we're going to do lots.
But that's because people like the original characters. Like, they want to see good movies based off those characters. And Fantastic Beasts is running off the residual fumes of, like...
Fantastic Beasts made more than Suicide Squad.
It did?
Yes. It made so much internationally. You know why?
Why?
Had Fantastic Beasts in it.
Yeah.
That little guy? Remember the little guy? I don't.
The Niffler.
Actually, yeah, the Niffler was all right.
Yeah, that movie drives me crazy.
Weird movie.
Yeah.
You know Ezra Miller is in the sequel?
Yeah.
And they had to, like, delay the Flash because of it? I mean, also because they keep
the only
firing
reason they
everyone
delayed
in the Flash.
Because no one wants to direct it. Well,
I mean, but, like, when I heard that, I was like, they were like, oh, and, you know, now the Flash has to get delayed because Ezra Miller has to be in Fantastic Beasts 2. And I was like, he has to be in it? You're sure about that? Like, the people over there were like, yeah. We gotta have him in that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're planning.
What a hot character he was, remember?
Yeah.
He was a big cloud of goo.
The Lego thing bums me out just because it's like, that came from like such low expectations, right? It was like just Lord and Miller worked their magic and made it into something
Agreed.
great. And then
of
they were
course,
like,
the low expectations helped.
right. And then they were like, oh, let's reverse engineer this as a brand. And they haven't made a bad Lego movie yet, but it's gonna fucking happen if they keep on making them.
It might well happen.
And
but I will say, I was about to say, at least they're 2 for 2 for
Yeah.
like decent movies. Maybe Ninjago will be great.
I mean, the trailer looks fine.
There's a Ninjago trailer?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
At the time of our recording, it came out today.
Oh, okay.
It
Fine.
looks fun, but it's like
This is on the record.
Yeah.
You're doing it on the record
It
segment.
looks fun, but it's like, okay, I get it. Like, I'm already starting to like fucking note the earmarks of like, okay, they've reverse engineered like these are the types of jokes. These are, what have you. Anyway,
So what happens is they eat breakfast. They tell the queen to deploy her soldiers to Giant
they
Country.
fart like crazy.
There's a lot of farting. The soldiers go to Giant Country.
They're like, we're
They,
gonna make a trap.
they infect the giants with nightmares. It's all a little... Yeah, you shouldn't think about it too much.
Now
They have like dangerous and terrifying power.
there's this moment where the BFG
Like, why doesn't the BFG solve world peace? Like, why doesn't he blow a dream into the fucking Israeli president's ear to, like, broker peace in the Middle East?
right? You want him to like pull an arrival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why? Yeah, exactly. Why doesn't he
Yeah.
like cure us all of our like citizenship?
Right.
Where it's just we're just members of Earth.
And he's like, no, just this one girl. And they're like, what about everybody? Well, you could save everybody. And he's like, just me, Sophie, and her blanket. There's this moment when they're sitting on the hill and they're like watching the sunrise. And they're just having like a nice friend conversation.
Yes, that is a nice moment.
It's a nice moment. And I remember watching it in the theater and going like, wait, is this movie great?
Yeah, but I remember coming out of it being like, I mean, Spielberg though, like
Right.
that's sort of like what you kind of give that movie.
Right. Well, and that's watching that moment. I was like, this feels like a moment that is like at the payoff of a great movie that's earned this, right? But it's actually kind of working for me, and I think it's because Rylance is really fucking good in this.
So good.
Really fantastic. And we talked about it on our Blank Check Awards episode, which we recorded yesterday, but now was months ago.
Yes.
It's a phenomenal performance.
Right.
And look, hard to sell that language, right? And to make it sound naturalistic. But I think the one thing this movie does do well is like it does sell you on like this is a nice friendship between two people. These two people are nice friends.
Sure.
And so I think that one moment I'm just kind of like, no, this isn't a great movie, but like I am invested in that one idea of just like a big thing and a little thing, being friends.
Sure.
Crossing the aisle, meeting in the middle.
Right.
Then the sun rises, they catch all the giants. Hooray, hooray. But the BFG has to stay there.
And she'll think of him when she's lonely.
And Rebecca Hall adopts.
I don't care.
I do. I think that's kind of sweet.
Oh no, I think it's nice that Rebecca doll, but I mean, it's like it's almost going for that Monsters Inc. mojo,
Yeah.
The real like we had this wonderful experience, and now we can't be together.
Yeah.
Like that was my magical childhood, but like it's like such a lingering. But like I'm like yeah, whatever.
That's the thing. They feel like nice friends, but the thing with Monsters Inc. is that felt like this is like a familial relationship. This isn't like, oh, they like hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
This is like they're deeply tied to each other. Like Sully has like father instincts towards her, towards Boo.
Birds. Anytime you say Sully,
Was a forced water landing.
birds.
Forced.
Birds.
I'm telling you, I felt it. I felt that engine go. There was no thrust.
What a great movie.
Sully's an American masterpiece.
Now, if only the BFG was the movie Sully.
I'm sorry,
And we were
who?
talking about it today. BFG!
BFG.
We got no energy for this one. And you know what?
It's fine.
We saw it coming 5 months ago, right?
Yep,
Like,
we did.
we always do. There'd be no energy for this one.
Yeah. So great. Everyone's nice friends. The movie comes out. No one sees it. It gets middling reviews. I think it's his biggest flop, certainly in terms of
Look at the top email.
the new Lego Ninjago movie / new trailer, download links plus poster.
right.
Is that a press email?
Yeah.
Great.
When did it get released?
July 4th
July 4th.
weekend.
Oh, so yeah, I mean,
We're gonna
summer
play-
release.
We're going to play
People thought it was going to be big.
the box office game.
Yeah.
People thought it was going to be big. Why not? Always
Right.
been on Spielberg, right?
Always.
Especially with something
Return
like
to
this.
form. Yeah.
July 1st,
Uh-huh.
2016,
Mhm.
the BFG opens number 4, $22 million. It grosses 55 total domestic, 183 worldwide, which pretty much covers its budget. It's a bomb.
But including marketing, I believe Disney has said they took
lost
a $75 million write-off on this movie.
Sounds about right. It doesn't matter because Disney had literally the most insane year in the history of movie studios that year.
They had 4 of the 20 highest-grossing movies of all time.
Correct. And so, that's fine.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, a disappointment.
Sure.
What is number 1 at the box office?
Okay, July 4th weekend.
Put it this way, it's a Disney movie.
It's a Disney movie, and that movie is...
It's been number 1 for 3 weeks
Finding
now.
Dory?
Yes.
Okay.
Finding Dory, the movie everyone remembers and enjoyed and talks about all the time that made gazillions of dollars.
The 8th highest-grossing movie in history.
Finding Dory. Tell me one thing that happens in Finding Dory.
Well, I remember it. That's the thing.
A fish gets lost.
He's got it.
This joke works for anyone else, but I could actually recount the entire plot of Finding Dory in detail.
Can you really?
Yeah. You kidding me?
Could you do in the BFG's voice?
Yeah.
So he opens with little, just blue fish ears. It's right there with the parents. Big eyes puzzles it has.
All right, and we're back.
Okay.
Number 2. It's a new film.
Legend Tarzan?
Correct.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this is recent enough that Griffin might just know.
Yeah.
Legend of Tarzan, a hit.
Yeah, no one
Talk
talks
about a movie
that.
people did not think was going to be a hit. Perfectly good hit.
Yeah, I
Made
think
$380 million.
once again cost too much to make.
Yeah, whatever.
But that movie.
That's a movie where you might think like, oh, they're going to lose a lot of money. Like this was a
I
mistake.
thought so. I remember tweeting, "Is it possible that literally 0 people go see The Legend of Tarzan?"
Sure.
Like I remember just feeling no excitement for it, and then it outgrossed like Independence Day 2. It outgrossed Alice Through the Looking Glass. Like these are bad movies, but it outgrossed sequels to huge movies.
Good job, Skarsgård. Nice job, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Number 3, also a new movie. The 3rd in a strange little franchise, horror franchise, that has become popular in the summers recently.
Oh, The Purge, election year.
Correct. Keep America Great.
The second best?
3rd. Oh, you're saying, the second best. Yes.
I mean, the first one's the worst.
The first one is terrible, and the second one is pretty good, and this one is kind of in the middle of those two.
Yeah, I think it's Anarchy, Election, then the original. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, at 36 mil it makes opening weekend.
And it ends up at like 90, right?
It ends up at 79, 118 worldwide, which is Jesus.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that movie except in America, but okay.
Yeah. And those movies cost like nothing to make.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Do you like The Purge?
I saw the second one.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like the kind of horror movie I like, which is just like really contained, small, like happens in a house.
Survival, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Number 4 is the BFG, and number 5 is a movie you already mentioned just now when you were comparing Tarzan to it.
Oh, Independence Day?
Independence Day Resurgence.
Okay.
2016 had some poops.
Yeah.
That was a big poop.
Yeah, that was a big poop.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I need to see it still.
Have you never seen it?
No, I would love it, right?
No. I mean, what do you mean?
think
Will Smith isn't in it.
He's not in it.
And is our boy in it?
Jeffy Goldblum?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeff Goldblum's
This is better.
in the movie.
That's actually good. Full circle.
That was okay.
That was
right?
good, yeah.
Because, first episode, last episode.
If I remember correctly.
Okay.
Now it's getting to Barack Obama.
Yep.
Yeah. The difference is
You'll
that
see.
when Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, it does not eat people.
No, that's not that good. Wait a second.
No, my joke was that was Obama doing Jeff Goldblum quotes.
Oh, I see.
That was my joke.
Central
I am
Intelligence.
evolving into a fly. Gina Davis, please try to help. Central Intelligence. Another big hit. Another big hit.
Big hit. The Shallows, which is a nice little movie.
Ooh, nice little movie.
Free State of Jones, which
Not a nice little
is
movie.
A nice bad long movie, a bad mid movie.
Yeah.
Conjuring 2, Swiss Army Man's in there.
Yeah.
Not make any money that one.
No.
So there you go.
BFG gets 0 Oscar nominations. Doesn't even get the perfunctory John Williams tip of the hat.
No, which is a bit, and it didn't get visual effects, which
No, it didn't.
is fine, but it's a bit rude.
A little bit rude. And that's the end of Steven Spielberg's run. Now it leaves us in a weird space because coming up, what does Spielberg have in the hopper? 2 movies, one of which sounds like exactly what he should be doing, and one of which sounds like exactly what he shouldn't be doing.
So the one you think he shouldn't be doing is Ready Player One,
Yeah.
and the one he should be doing is Pope Baby, drama, Rylance, Oscar
Isaac.
What's
it's
going
like-
on here? Yeah.
Right. Him-
Morals is dark and gray. Things is confusing. The
Right.
movie.
right. Life makes no sense.
Politics in Behind Closed Doors. The movie.
And then the other one's an adaptation of a book about a virtual reality
A
world.
book that people didn't really like.
No, they were like good concept, bad execution.
Right. Maybe it'll be good. It's
I
like
don't know.
Spielberg's Tron.
But but also like a Roger Rabbit where you mash up all the pop culture elements of the movies that Spielberg produced,
Yeah.
which I think is weird. I don't know how he's going to deal with it. Apparently, it's a lot of motion capture. I like Tintin, as you know. I like the freedom it gives him in the camera. I'm a little excited to see him exist in a fully motion capture realm, but I'm a little worried about that movie.
Here's some Reddit suggestions for Ben's names.
Okay.
Warhaz.
I think that's the one, but go on.
The BFH. Big Friendly Haas.
I like Ben Friendly Giant more, but okay.
Benny Anda Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Haas. It's a bit long.
Ben likes it, though.
I mean,
Ben likes it.
The Krahassian. What is that? I don't get it.
Oh, let me see it.
Krahossin.
Oh, fuck. I looked at it and I understood what it meant, and I'm trying to remember it. Let me see it
It's
visually.
just hard to turn.
Yeah. Krahassian. Oh, I know what it is.
What is
It's
it?
the Krahosian. It's making fun of
Oh,
Krakosia.
okay, that's
And the
no
term-
good.
that's too
Sorry,
deep.
the user, Alex, blah, blah, blah. Catch Me If You Ben.
Uh-huh.
Amistaz, which is funny.
Yeah, but do we want to do that?
Let's also not poke fun at that movie and
Yeah,
that
thank
subject
you.
matter.
Artificial Bentelligence, Benj of Spies, Benardi Report, Private Ryben, which we've talked about, Gigolo Ben, Ben Deanna Jones, Ben Cruncher,
This just makes me want to
Butcher
see all
Boy
these
Benny.
movies.
and finally Mutt Williams. That's just Shia LaBeouf's name. I think it would be hilarious if the two friends called Ben Mutt Williams every episode.
I mean, that is funny.
Steve Ben Spielberg is the final suggestion. All those things are funny, but I do think Warhaz is still by a nose.
I think that's the
Yeah,
winner.
I like it too.
And let's give credit. Who came up with Warhaz?
Oh shit! Sorry, I closed it. I'll find it. 1 second.
yeah, no worries.
But yeah, Steven Spielberg. Shrug. I don't know what your future waits. Yes, I agree.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Anything.
So you framed this miniseries around DreamWorks
Mm-hmm.
years of Spielberg, and he's the first director, right, to ever get that much control over a studio.
When
Yeah.
you think about it, DreamWorks. It is rude that the BFG didn't even have the DreamWorks logo. It's
It is.
literally about a dream worker.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
works in dreams.
Yes.
It's a bit rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I guess my question is, do you think that a filmmaker will ever get to that point again? Do you think that's too much control? Do you think it's the mistake of like sort of Lucas comes to mind of like people not saying no to you sort of thing, and like you then start making poor choices because you have so much control? Like what do you think?
I think he's a weird example because I think he's a guy where he works big, right?
Mhm.
And Spielberg knows how to use money and put it up on the screen. And you even look at stuff like Lincoln and Munich, which are two of his least expensive movies ever made. And there's a scope and a scale to those movies in terms of like, oh, wow, here's a street corner in a wide shot where they're able to dress this entire world and put this many characters in and all of this. And so it has a real feeling of place and of time rather than just like, fuck, we got $5 million to shoot a period piece. Let's shoot around it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think he earns it in that way. And it feels like I think this is what this ends up being about, okay? I think it ends up being about self-discipline.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the case study in Steven Spielberg here, is that like a lot of the people we've covered, once everyone gives them what they want, their instincts are bad, right?
Often.
That they need other people to rein them in.
Sometimes.
I don't
Not
think,
the Wachowskis.
right. I don't think Spielberg needs people to rein him in.
No, because he hasn't been reined in for decades.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's pre-DreamWorks he wasn't being reined in. Yeah.
Right. And it never feels excessive, and you're never like, what the fuck was he thinking? You're always like, I know what he was thinking, and it was dumb. When it doesn't work, you're like,
And
I see it, but
As
it was...
we've said, he's good at acknowledging it, too.
Yes,
Unlike
100%.
someone like M. Night Shyamalan.
Right. But I think the problem comes from when he's making something because it's clearly energizing him, you know?
Sure, to when he's
Versus-
making something where he's like, well, I should be good at this, right?
Right.
Yeah, like this is my kind of thing, isn't it?
And I think the thing that unifies all of those, this should be my kind of thing movies, is that they're, on paper, the more commercially Spielberg movies. And that's where the conflict of him being the studio head comes in.
Right.
Because he's not just trying to make movies, but he's trying to keep an entire studio afloat, and he's the biggest asset they have is his films.
Well, we're also going to, in a future miniseries, talk about his efforts as a studio head, I would think.
Well, let's talk about that.
In partnering with other directors.
Let's talk about that in 1 second.
Okay.
I just want to say, I've been living in a perpetual fear these days, right?
Oh, my God. What's this?
No. Both, like, in the outer world and the inner world, right? I wake up every morning, I check the news.
It's never good.
The world's terrifying.
Uh-huh.
And so every day is dispiriting. You just go like, what the fuck am I going to do? How do we exist? But there's this thing that's, it motivates a lot of people, incentivizes a lot of people to take action, to speak out, We're fighting harder than we have in a long time because the threat's real, right?
Is there a bit coming?
No. I'm not going to stretch this out for too long.
Okay, please.
In my inner life,
Ben's looking onto an imaginary horizon.
Is it coming?
in my inner life, I'm terrified because at the time of this recording,
So he's going to go make the tick.
right. And this is the biggest thing I've ever done. And I in my heart of hearts, trust, I think I know how to do this, but it also just is scary. And I find that exciting because I feel like, we've been friends for a couple of years. And for those couple of years, there are a lot of times I was like, I think I'm done with acting. I just hate it. It's driving me
times.
crazy.
There was
Right?
one time in particular, which was after Kid Cudi beat you out for Entourage.
Where I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I would work on stuff and you'd be like, how was it? And I'd be like, I'm fucking irritated with all this. And it was like, I'm doing the same thing they asked me to do where I drop a cup of coffee or I'm a nerd or fucking this. And it's not good. And I just feel like I'm doing a bad job.
You were society's intern. You were Hollywood's intern.
Right? Yeah. But it was also just I felt like I was experiencing no growth whatsoever. I wasn't being given the chance to do anything beyond what I could do.
I'm wrapping you up
And what's
here.
exciting to me now is how scared I feel about this because it makes me think there's no way I'm going to give anything less than 100% because I'm too scared of failure. And I think Spielberg is someone who is capable of extreme artistic growth and evolution, right?
Yes.
But he has to be diligent about not letting himself rest on his laurels and do something he could do before. Now, he can make
agree.
lateral moves. It doesn't always have to be bigger. It doesn't
So
always
you're
have to be
saying that
deeper.
Spielberg, for a while, he was an intern. Go ahead.
Some of these movies, he's dropping coffee cups.
I think you're right, but I actually think Spielberg is someone who often backs into his own progress. He doesn't and he doesn't quite realize what a leap forward he's made until he's made a couple of these movies.
I would just ask him.
He takes on these ambitious projects,
Yeah.
and that's often when you're kind of I don't mean ambitious like AI. I mean
Right.
ambitious like the BFG.
Yes.
Often that's when you're like, oh, you're kind of just being proficient here.
That's
and it's more interesting when he's wrestling with a story that doesn't quite fit him.
The proficiency is what scares me because even if it's a complicated movie on a technical level, or this is a weird narrative to wrestle down because the book is so sort of incidental, you know? It doesn't feel like there's anything he would look at the material and be like, I have no idea how to do this, And I think he needs to be self-disciplining when he looks at material because he's Spielberg, because he has this great power. And when he chooses to make something, it matters. He gets budgets that other people don't get. He's recently decried the death of the adult drama. He and Lucas came out and were like, it's dead.
He and famous adult dramatic filmmaker
Right.
George Lucas.
Right. And they're like, we can't even get our passion projects made. And it's like, no, but you can.
Yeah.
You can. So you have to use that responsibility
And
wisely.
also, don't phone it in, right? If it maybe you need to scrape or sort of fudge a little more to get one of these things made, then do it.
And doesn't mean that
Don't
you
just
can't,
be like, fuck it.
doesn't mean you can't have fun. I love Tintin, obviously, but Tintin was scary because it was him working in a totally new mode.
Uh-huh.
All I'm saying is I think artists got to be scared. I think in one way or another, artists got to be
It's a
scared.
nice little manifesto.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was our miniseries on Steven Spielberg.
We did it.
Pop Me If You Cast, here's my prediction. Griffey on the record.
Yeah.
I think Steven Spielberg is going to make some more great films and some more bad films.
Probably true.
Yep.
I think it's going to, honestly, but I think he's going to learn his lessons from the bad ones.
How old do you think he is?
72?
Checking. 70.
Oh.
He's got plenty of time.
He's got time. That guy's going to live.
Are you excited for Brad Pitt to make a sci-fi movie with James Gray?
They just announced that?
He's circling this
Oh, okay.
movie,
We
in
were
which he'd
supposed to
play an
do-
autistic space engineer.
I love that. He was supposed to do Lost City of Z, right?
He executive produced it. Yes, I think he was.
But he was supposed to start
Yeah,
it
no,
for
I
like a
think there
decade.
was a time. But yeah,
I like James Gray a lot. I just like the idea of James Gray getting movies made.
I just like the idea we've talked about a lot of everyone does their sci-fi movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
James Gray's like, time for my sci-fi movie.
So let's announce our next miniseries. I don't know. Look, we're still figuring it out because we're recording this so far in advance.
We're
might do
sure
something
this
in
is
between.
our next miniseries? Yeah, because there might be something in between.
How about this? We'll say it, but it might change, and I'll insert something else.
Fair enough.
Right?
Right.
So
of course.
we can always
we have
just
months to change this. If
we're
going to
do, and then it'll be like me just like bird. So we've got that as a backup.
Just bird.
Producer Ben here with an official announcement. Our next miniseries will be on the films of Christopher Nolan, starting in mid-June on the 19th. Leading up to that, we'll have a few one-off episodes. Next week, we have a Ben's Choice on the film Clifford, starring Martin Short and Charles Grodin, so not the Big Red Dog movie. Then a mailbag episode where we respond to listeners' emails, followed by a Wonder Woman episode. I will also go on the record today and say that followed by Nolan, we will be covering director Catherine Bigelow as our next miniseries. Thanks. Back to the show.
So that's our main series. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Thanks as always for listening. Stay tuned for whatever we just explained was going to happen in whatever order we just explained was going to happen in.
Yep.
Guys, you could always tweet at us at Blank Check Pod
Yeah.
or like the Facebook page,
Please.
guys.
Please, for God's sake, like the Facebook page.
I wish you would.
I think it'd be a nice thing to do.
I think it would be okay. Like Mark Rylance, you're out there. Give us a like.
Yes,
There's all kinds of original content.
most definitely. And as always,
Film, the good snapper, when fizzle winks his guns, hands whistles, his bubbles, farts, smith.
I was listening to the best of the Phantom Menace Phantom Podcast episodes.
Sure.
You know what joke we didn't hit hard enough?
What?
We only did once.
What?
That Phantom Menace is ripping off Spaceballs.
Yeah, I didn't like that joke.
I thought that was a funny bit.
I thought it was a good bit.
You
too.
were the one who came up with that.
I thought that
felt
was,
like we
I
should
thought
have
that was
milked it
too
more.
obvious. We did it once. It was fine.
It was great. I thought it was really funny.
I mean, we could do it right now.
We're all idiots.
Give me what's the name of the person who came up with Warhaz? Did you get that?
Oh, fuck. Right. Got it. Deleted it again. Here. Wait. I've got it. His name is Apathy Monger.
Okay.
And that's his Reddit name.
Yeah.
And his
Flare.
yeah, is that what it's
It's
called?
called Flare.
What a dumb website. Is
David,
number one fan of Jupiter's moon Europa.
Oh,
Good cut.
shots fired.
I wanted to get that out there.
Good cut. Apathy Monger, I think maybe was the one who started the Reddit, is one of the major posters.
So shout out Apathy Monger.
Hey, check out that Reddit. Reddit.r/r/blankies. Fun place where fun things happen.
Reddit's great. Nothing bad's ever happened on Reddit. No one's ever had to ban a Reddit sub-community for any reason at all.
Absolutely not. Pizzagate, though.
This has been a UCB comedy production. Check out our other shows on the UCB Comedy Podcast Network.